In the quiet town of Thirsk, North Yorkshire, a father's patriotic gesture has sparked national debate. Shaun Remmer, a 49-year-old supply teacher, has found himself out of work after he began hoisting dozens of Union Jacks and regional flags across his hometown. Remmer says he wanted to celebrate unity in Britain, not stir division. Over the past months, he estimates that he helped display around 150 flags. Many locals have praised the sight, calling it uplifting and patriotic. Some, he says, even stop him in shops to say thank you. But not everyone feels the same. Shaun says that he was snitched on by some residents who have taken offence, accusing the display of being politically charged. Those offended reported Mr. Remmer to his former workplace at Welburn Hall School in York, and soon after, Remmer was left without a job. I got a phone call from my agency telling me that a trust that I used to work at, but don't anymore, said they received a complaint about me putting flags up in Thirsk. The school had then spoke to the trustees and then rang my agency to tell them that they no longer want me to work at either of their schools. It was really odd. A week later, I arrived back home from Welburn Hall in York after having a good day, and someone found out about the flags and spoke to the headmistress. The headmistress then saw what I posted about the problems we have in our country, such as young girls getting raped. The post was all about children, as that is who I am trying to protect. Remmer claims that one agency suggested there were safeguarding issues around him and implied that he was racist, something that he strongly denies. North Yorkshire Council later stepped in, ordering him to stop installing flags on public property. They cited safety concerns and warned that if he continued, he would be charged for their removal. The council's Environment Director, Carl Battersby, explained that while individuals are free to display flags on private property, unauthorised flags on lampposts, bridges or roundabouts risk public safety and will be taken down. We are proud to support big national and regional occasions by flying the St George's Cross or Union flag. However, we are aware of some residents across North Yorkshire feeling uncomfortable with the numbers of flags as well as graffiti. This does not reflect the inclusive and celebratory tone in which displaying the flags should be intended. We have also seen numerous examples of people putting themselves at risk to display the flags on highways, bridges and lampposts. We respect individuals' rights to fly and paint flags on their own property, but any unauthorised flags or markings on roundabouts and street furniture will be removed when resources allow, focusing on those which are a safety issue. Remmer insists that his intention was never to offend. He says his flags weren't just about Britain, but about bringing together the nations within it, flying not only the Union Jack, but also Scottish, Irish, Welsh and the Ulster flags. For Shaun Remmer, what began as a project of unity has instead turned his life upside down. Supporters online have rallied behind him, calling his dismissal unfair and accusing the local authorities of political bias. Critics, however, argue that the public property should remain neutral ground, not a platform for personal expression. As the flags of Thirsk come down, the debate they inspired continues about patriotism, free expression, and where community pride crosses the line. The town of Faversham in Kent has also seen opinions clash over whether the Raise the Colours movement is a way of uniting people through patriotism, or as some believe, being used as a cover to instill fear amongst non-British communities. Founder of Raise the Colours movement, Elliot Stanley, recently appeared on GB News to defend those taking to the streets to hoist the national flag.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code and account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just live in credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, You need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward. And that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
What is wrong with flying the Union and St George's flag?
Well, the first thing that's wrong, Matt, is the fact that under the Highways Act 1980, it's actually a criminal offence to affix anything to council furniture. I'm actually quite perplexed how the Chief Constable, Tim Smith of Kent, hasn't taken actionable force against these individuals. Before we get into a conversation of whether it's right or wrong, the fact that it's illegal. And as a law-abiding citizen who prides himself in supporting his local law enforcement, I'm questioning the fact, why are these people not being arrested? Because quite rightly, if they're as patriot as they are, they wouldn't mind being arrested because they believe in the colours.
OK, thank you, Shaquille. Elliot Stanley.
Well, I mean, there's several national county councils that have quite openly admitted that they've got no intention of removing the flags from their street furniture. I would definitely not say it's an illegal matter. It's a potential civil matter. But, you know, there's certain patriotic councils out there, which are now reform councils, that have certainly said they've got no intention of removing them. I think to call it an illegal matter would be simply ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
Shaquille,
my question to that, Matt, would be, and that my question I'd like to pose to Elliot, does he believe that, you know, he's very patriot and he believes God save the king? Is that something that you believe in?
What do I believe in? Christianity?
Do you believe that God, you know the quote, God save the king? Is that something that you believe in? Do you support King Charles and the patriotism about everything?
Absolutely, I'm a monarchist
So
and a royalist.
could you please tell me how many countries is King Charles the king of, please?
He's the king of the UK.
And how many other countries is King Charles the king of? If you're so
are you asking
patriot,
how many countries? Are you asking how many countries he's the head of state of?
He's the king. How many countries?
No,
he's
the king of the UK. He's the king of the United Kingdom.
Can we keep this focused on the flags, guys? Can we keep this focused on the flag, Shaquille? So, Shaquille, we've got this issue around, you're saying highway code, you've got policies, procedures, that's what should be used to essentially bring these flags down. I mean, would you be saying the same if we were talking about other kinds of flags being flown from public buildings and lampposts?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that the councils shouldn't be put under further pressure. I come from a city which is Birmingham, where our Birmingham City Council is under massive pressure. And as British and proud as I am, I have no issue with the flags. But my issue is when the Birmingham City Council is hiring night staff to remove these flags. My neighbour, who is a white British pensioner who's 87, named Margaret, whose council tax is rising because the council has unnecessary costs that's associated with these flags. And the bigger issue, to be quite honest with you, is because of people like Tommy Robinson and his cronies who have hijacked this whole flag and patriotism. Because why hasn't Nathan put any flags up in Spark Hill or in Small Heath or in Borstal Heath? Why is it that it's only a Muslim English-dominated areas? Why isn't Nathan and Elliot, and his flag campaign coming into our areas? Because I challenge anyone to show me one Muslim person removing flags off lampposts.
Shaquille, in fairness, just before I go back to Elliot and give him some time, in fairness, the story is hooked on Faversham in Kent, and I don't think you could call Faversham in Kent a highly diverse or Muslim area. But Elliot Stanley, over to you, please.
Shaquille, I've got a proposition. You've just suggested that we put some flags up in Small Heath or Allen Rock, or wherever it may be. Why don't, as a patriotic British person, why don't we team up and we'll go and put some up in Small Heath? There's a suggestion for you.
Unfortunately, the council that the city I come from do not allow this, and it's actually against the Highways Code 1980 to put a flags. The question I want to ask you is: should people from all the countries of the Commonwealth, whether it's Antigua, Australia, Bahama, Canada, Jamaica, or New Zealand, also be allowed to put flags up when their country's king is King Charles?
Well, I would suggest this to you that yesterday we were putting some flags up, and we've had a lot of resistance in one particular area of Birmingham called Sturchley, where we've had them removed twice over the course of the last fortnight. So yesterday we've decided to go out and put poppy flags up, coming up to our Mister's Day, saying, lest we forget. I've met incredible hostility with that. Yet again, but I've been called a fascist. I mean, the ridiculous of that by putting poppy flags up and then being called a fascist for doing so.
Look, Elliot, sorry to stop you. I did watch your interaction with Nathan from the tattoo artist, and I absolutely agree with him. The question that I ask you is, why
do you
are you
agree
not
with the fact that he
why
said
are
the
you not
Armada
gaining? Why are
went
you not
plundering
gaining?
around
Hang on, fellas. Shaquille, what's a question? What's a question? What's the question, Shaquille? Repeat it, please.
Sorry?
Repeat your question, please.
My question is, why are you not gaining consent from the local councils before you're putting these flags up, when you have people from the local community like Nathan, the tattoo artist, who really from the area compassionately, very virally made his stance of why he had an issue with his flags? And you, Elliot, might have the most sincerest reasons for doing so, but unfortunately people like Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson have hijacked your campaign, and that's clearly evident by the fact that the highest recorded religious hate crimes are against Muslims. And I hope that TV News would share that with the people that the highest recorded religious crimes are against Muslims.
Elliot Stanley, I mean, I imagine one... Please, Elliot.
I think we're digressing slightly there. As I've repeatedly stated, this is nothing to do with race, it's nothing to do with religion, sexuality, or creed, colour, or anything else. This is a patriotic act. Whether you think it's illegal for hanging or displaying flags on council street furniture is a separate issue. The fact that we're doing it because we're all British and we're all patriotic, we should all get behind our flag. We should all show unity.
Absolutely. I agree with what you're saying.
So please come and join me. Please come and join our movement.
I agree with what you're saying.
There's a really big offer for you there, Shaquille, to consider is possibly helping.
Let me just add one thing. I agree with what you're saying, that we are very patriotic by the flag. But the question I ask you is, would you be okay for people whose king is King Charles, from Antigua, from Australia, from Bahamas, from Canada, from Jamaica, from New Zealand, to put up flags on our lampposts as well, because they're quite rightly patriots as well, and their king is quite rightly King Charles? Would you be okay with that?
Would you like me to answer that question?
Please.
So last night when we were in Sturchley, yet again, a gentleman come up to us, and he had a flag with every flag of the world on it, and we quite happily. We'd already erected a poppy flag, and then he said, would you mind putting this up on a lamppost? I said, absolutely. I've got the video of supporting evidence that we put that up. If a gentleman from Jamaica come up to us and said, would you put this up for us, we would display that flag.
Well, there we go. There's some real unity, fellas.